If you're somebody who struggles with forgiving those who have wronged you, I want to offer this as a question you can ask yourself to ease more quickly into forgiveness and release. Are you okay with God using the people who have used you? Are you okay with God using the people who have used you? You see, when we are wronged, when people do the things we don't like, when we are let down, when we are disappointed, when we are treated unjustly, unkindly, unfairly, when we are made to suffer at the hands, words, omission, and acts of others, it's very hard for us to abandon our sense of what justice would look like and accept that they still deserve God's grace. Are you okay with God using the people who have used you? If you're not okay with that, then you're going to be angry all the time until you're justly satisfied. They're punished, they meet their destruction and their end. They get what's coming to them. Karma drive up upon the block and park them and deal with them. You will struggle. You will struggle to see them do well. You will struggle to see them happy. You will struggle to see them win. You will struggle to see them live long. You will struggle to see them succeed, unless you become okay with God using the people who have used you. Now, I say that not knowing context. I don't know the details, but I'm sure whoever is watching this video, no matter what the context is, you're absolutely, positively convinced, if you are unforgiving towards somebody else, that what they've done is just too much. It's just really too much. And that challenge for you is really you taking time to answer the question, am I okay with God using the people who have used me? The sooner you're able to answer yes to that question, is the easier life becomes, the faster you can forgive, the less likely it is that you will hold a grudge. But don't mean that you're going to be silly and keep making the same mistakes, right? Making yourself vulnerable to people who continue to violate your trust. That's not what forgiveness means. But it means accepting that God can still use the people who have used you. And in doing so, you can release them, right? Whether them win or lose, it no matter. Whether they succeed or fail, it no matter. Whether you see justice delivered or not, it no matter. You are okay with God deciding to use the people who have used you. And so you can release them of that obligation and make room, and this part is essential, make room for other things to come into your life. The story of Jonah, I've recently come to understand it in that context. I used to always read that story and just shake my head, because Jonah must be a madman, right? Because, God must tell you if you do something and you think you can run away from God. You can't hide from God. You can go west when God tell you to go east. I've always laughed at Jonah, but what I've recently come to realize is that was a problem Jonah had. Jonah never say the Ninevites them could have do something for God forgive them. He got a message as a prophet in Israel to go and tell one of Israel's biggest enemies that if you stop doing wrong, God not gonna destroy you, and you have X amount of time to stop the wrong. Now, Jonah know the God we him serve. Jonah know that God is gracious, God is merciful, God is kind, and God not gonna tell lie. So if God say you stop, me not gonna mash down your city, that's what God mean. And instead of extending God's grace, remember no Jonah's grace, Jonah not have no grace. Jonah can't destroy nowhere, and Jonah can't prevent the destruction of anywhere. So all he had was a message of God's grace. That's what our forgiveness is. Yeah? When somebody does wrong, you're forgiving them, refusing to hold that over their head, to carry a grudge for the rest of your life, to demand that they do all these things for you to move on from the wrong. Forgiveness is the extension of God's grace, the message of God's grace. Jonah never want to pass on a message there. And for us, sometimes we don't want to extend that forgiveness, that message of God's grace. Because it means that if the person turns around, changes their behavior, starts to do things differently, then they will receive the mercy. They will receive the goodness of God. And we not think that them deserve that. We have our own sense of justice. So we want the system mash up, and we want destruction to come. At minimum, if they're not destroyed, we definitely don't want to do nothing to make them life easy and nice, right? They must at least get a cut here from we. Them feel uncomfortable when they come around we. No grace, no mercy. And so Jonah was trying to abandon his mission. just because he never wants to see God's grace extended to people who would have wronged him. Now, politically, of course they want Nineveh for mash up. Because if Nineveh mash up, that's one less enemy for Israel. Because Nineveh are nice, the Assyrians are never nice. But if you truly believe that God fights your battles for you, if you truly believe that God can and will, without your help and permission, will use the people who have used you because it's about his mission, his goal, his purpose is being fulfilled, you will come out of the way. Allow yourself to be used to further the grace, further the mission. And if you can do something good, come out of the way and don't stand in the way of good. Jonah said him not do it, him not carry a message God give them. Eventually, as you know, the story goes, the whale swallow him, spitting back out at him starting point, and jump on a boat, the boat encountered some storm at seas, end up in the water, end up in the whale belly. Finally, he decides to go and deliver the message, to extend the grace, the opportunity for forgiveness. And when he does that, immediately, the Ninevites change their behavior. They are no longer that wicked and evil people. And so the grace of God is extended to them. You know what Jonah do? Jonah was disobedient. Jonah did violate the orders where God gave him at first, but was still extended grace, right? When he jumped off of the boat, he never dead. Right? When he went up to the whale belly, he never passed out in a feces, right? Jonah, who received grace despite his disobedience, was angry that the Ninevites received grace following their obedience. Again, sometimes it's our sense of justice that is getting in the way of the work that we have to do and frustrating us in life when we can be part of the solution, part of the process, and move in flow, synchronicity, and rhythm with the will of God. So again, dropping that question for you, if you struggle with forgiveness, if you struggle to release people, if you struggle to accept that God can still love, use, bless the people who have wronged, used, or abused you, that's a good story to read. And it's a good question to try to answer. Am I okay with God using the people who have used me? It forces you to confront yourself as imperfect, because God still use you despite the mistakes that you make. God still bless you despite your disobedience. God is still blessing you despite your resistance to his good guidance and his will. And if you are happy with that and you get up every morning and say, thank you, I'm grateful for that, I don't deserve this, what about the people who have wronged you? And when you answer yes to that question, it opens up the door for forgiveness and your ability to be less uncomfortable, because you may not be joyful immediately, but less uncomfortable seeing good happen to the people you believe are bad. And you remember that even in your own life, you must have to find at least one person who did say you did bad too. But you do not believe that that separates you from the love of God, right? Nothing separates us from the love of God. Consequently, nothing will separate others from the love of God. And a part of the expression of God's love is grace. So when you are asked to extend God's grace, remember, if I did our grace, it couldn't work, If our grace, when somebody let we down, we plug out the gravity over for them yard, right? Yeah, they will float up in that stratosphere, and end up out of space without no oxygen, no nothing, and just float away and dead up there. Yeah, with a plug out gravity. If it up to we, anybody will do we wrong, if our grace did not do it, yeah, we plug out for them gravity. Yeah. We lock up back for them oxygen buckle. If I did our grace. So while it is hard for precisely this reason. It is not our grace. It's God's grace that you're extending to them. And if you don't have God's grace available, just pray for it. Pray for it. Whenever you feel yourself frustrated, seeing them, waiting on karma, and why just unfair. You see some people, no matter what I'm doing, Instead of doing that, pray, God, fill me up with your grace that I may extend it to them. Because I not have none for myself. Yeah, I not have none for myself. Right now, me that want to find where fit them oxygen buckle there and just take out some of the oxygen. Yeah, so them just short a breath today. Me that want that. So I not have my grace. But I pray that you will fill me up with your grace that I may extend it to your son, your daughter, your child, your blessed one, your still loved one. Right now, I have a lot of love for them. But I know that nothing separates us from your godly love. So don't allow me to be something that's trying to separate people from your love. Allow me to be someone that helps to plug them more deeply and firmly into your love. Give me some of the grace there so I can extend to them. So yeah, if you've not read Jonah's story as an adult, cause Pitney, you know, it's a joke story to me when we was a Pitney, I said, sure, you must don't try disobey God. Yeah. Read it again as an adult, right through to the end of the book, and see what you learn. But that was a big insight for me. We who are living on grace, undeserved, unmerited favor, are sometimes unhappy when we see that same undeserved, unmerited favor extended to those who we think, based on our sense of justice, have wronged us too much and don't deserve it. Humility would go a far way. Humility would go a far way on that journey to forgiveness. So hoping this blesses you, hoping that question helps to put things into perspective for you. And if you get some time to read the book of Jonah in the context of this discussion, you can comment underneath this video. I'll share it live on my page and let me know the insights that you are able to extract from it. But for me, that's humility and understanding that while my grace would not be sufficient, God's grace is always available. And I can always pray for a fresh dose, a fresh injection to allow me to extend that to others. All right. Blessings and love. Have a great day. Workout number 2 for me for the week. 4 miles down. I'm trying to get 10 for this week, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to exceed my goal. May I go on good? How's your week doing in terms of wellness and positive habit building? You can let me know in the comments as well. Take care.